Charlie and Christine Bilis want a better life, close to nature.
My mom and my dad just fell in love with it up here, like the scenery and just fresh air, too.
It's a healthy, quiet, and safe place to live.
Until an accident quashes their dreams and unleashes a secret.
I wanted to make sure I had some sort of evidence to back me up.
A secret one of them will take to the grave.
If he attacked me, I tried strangling the guy.
Don't touch me!
She couldn't take it anymore. She couldn't live that way anymore.
Love may be blind and marriage bliss, but divorce is murder. It's a beautiful autumn day, and from the outside looking in, Charlie and Christine Bilis are enjoying every moment of it.
It is so pretty.
Well, the Northeast Kingdom is a very rural area. In fact, it's the most rural area of Vermont. It's a healthy, quiet, and safe place to live.
But their happiness will be short-lived.
The vehicle just veered off the road and struck the tree almost head-on.
Christine and Charlie's lives hang in the balance.
My wife told me about the accident. She had heard it on the radio, and we were pretty shocked.
No one knows the cause of this terrible accident in what looks like a perfectly happy marriage. But things are never quite as they seem. Charlie and Christine Bilis are newcomers to Derby Line. They have a daughter together, 5-year-old Caitlin.
Mom, Dad, look what we found in the attic!
And they're raising 10-year-old Karina, Christine's daughter from a previous relationship.
He was technically my stepdad, but he raised me since I was about 3 years old, so definitely consider him my dad.
Little piggy, let me come in.
They were pretty great parents, made sure that we always had what we needed.
As parents, the whole focus seemed to be on raising their children and loving their children. There was a lot of humor, a lot of laughter.
Oh, Farmer Brown.
This isn't what I found. You remember that?
The couple has been together for 7 years and married for 6.
They met through church. They were both part of the congregation.
That was a happy day, wasn't it?
Yeah. We did good, didn't we?
We did good.
They date for about a year before Charlie pops the question.
They were just doing dishes, doing housework, and he was like, hey, you want to get married? And she was like, yeah, that sounds really great.
After saying I do, they live in Massachusetts and spend holidays in Vermont.
Who wants pie?
I do.
So this move is something they've been dreaming about.
My mom and my dad just fell in love with it up here, like the scenery and just fresh air, too.
To the people of Derby Line, the newcomers fit right in.
They enjoyed it because of the beauty of the area, the church, their friends.
Christine doesn't mind that Charlie, at age 53, is a full 15 years older than she is.
No,
She also doesn't mind that the Greek expat is nearly blind.
My dad had been legally blind since he was born.
No, look, I'll get it right this time.
Well, Charlie could see, but it was difficult for him to be able to sit down and read a newspaper or a magazine.
He would actually have his daughters read him news and stories, and he subscribed to the visually impaired services.
Christine still finds Charlie's large, charismatic personality as refreshing as she did on the day they met.
I think what my mom found attractive about my dad was the fact that he was really motivated and really sociable person, too. He was really friendly and outgoing.
And he's still crazy about her sense of humor.
I'm sorry.
Did I ever tell you girls about the time that Daddy spilled ketchup on my white pants?
We've heard that story. Thank you.
My mom was really funny person, too. Just always, like, ready to make jokes. And my dad was sort of serious, and my mom was not serious at all, so just having them put together kind of made pretty good combination.
The family lives off of Charlie's government disability checks and the extra money he makes repurposing and selling old furniture online.
He was really good about, finding junk and restoring it and selling it. He's very resourceful.
All right, you can say it. You're impressed.
A little more practice, maybe.
My dad definitely working with his hands and being able to touch things and see through them that way, I think that really helped him.
I gotta go, my shift starts in 15 minutes.
Christine works part-time at a local restaurant.
My mom worked at a fast food chain for a while. It was a good environment for her to be able to be social. It's just doing something to make money.
The family struggles to make ends meet, but overall, they're happy.
I saw great warmth between them at times.
Eager to get involved in the community, Christine and Charlie volunteer for different organizations.
My dad was a really motivated person.
Hi. Do you need any extra set of hands around here? We're new.
We're new to town, and we thought we could offer our services.
Charlie Bilis. This is my wife, Christine.
Volunteering for him was also a way to get out and be part of the community.
And they're especially devoted to Northeastern Kingdom television, known as NEK-TV.
NEK-TV is a public access station here. They record city council meetings, sometimes, kids' baseball games, things like that.
A lot of what my parents did was filming public events and interviews.
Charlie has such a knack for interviewing people that within months, the station manager gives him his own talk show.
Welcome to a new show. It's New Stars. This is your host, Steve Merrill. I'm your co-host, I guess, Charlie Bilis.
Open Forum was his idea where people can come in and they can talk about issues that they're having in the community or upcoming events or anything like that.
We'd like to say this is our second episode. We hope you saw the first one, because if you didn't, we're coming to your house and I'm gonna cane you.
Charlie continues to take on more responsibility at NEK-TV, and in the process becomes friendly with State Senator and District Attorney Vincent Iluzzi.
Charlie and I were both members of the board of directors of NEK-TV. We set policy for the organization.
Christine, meanwhile, is content to stay behind the scenes.
Hey. Wow. Look at this, I'm working on the interview.
Without Chrissy there to help with the audio and video, to doing the editing, it's very obvious that Charlie probably would not have been able to do any of it without Chrissy's help.
The couple also connects with the community through their faith.
The church played a very strong role in their lives.
But no amount of prayer seems to help Charlie with his health.
Chrissy.
The big issue with Charlie certainly was his heart condition.
I think we need to see the doctor. I'm not feeling well.
He suffers from angina, a condition that causes severe chest pains resulting from a reduced blood flow to the heart.
I have a lot of memories of him being in and out of the hospital. I remember that he had a lot of pills that he had to take.
Make sure that you're all right.
Those pills make him feel tired and sick to his stomach.
Okay.
All right, everybody buckle up. You too, Charlie.
I hate wearing seatbelts.
Get your seatbelt on, please. Okay, fine.
When Charlie was not doing well, it was as if a cloud of depression had come over him and he was feeling down.
It's just...
Charlie's health soon takes a turn for the worse.
I've had this angina for some time now, but this particular time, it's like the pain is, there's something going on.
He needs an operation to unclog his arteries.
He had stents put in, which are basically little tubes that keep your arteries open.
The procedure is a success, but after, he relies more and more on Christine to get around.
She would drive as much as he needed regarding any medical appointments or professional appointments they would have.
Charlie was dependent on Chrissy to some degree because of his sight problems, not just for driving, but just even bustling around at events or things. She helped him. She did most of the cooking, a lot of the house chores.
Fill time.
The problem is, Christine has a health issue of her own, depression. So when it comes to taking care of Charlie, she's not always up to the task.
You know know what? I am beat. I'm gonna go to bed. Girls, time to get ready for bed.
Growing up, my mom's depression was something that was always there. She definitely had her off days, but being there for her and being supportive of her, I felt like really helped her get through it.
Psychotherapist Stacy Kaiser and forensic psychologist Brian Russell are concerned that what draws this couple together could also pull them apart.
In a way, Christine and Charlie are sort of interdependent. She leans on him for some things, he leans on her for some things. And it can become unhealthy, and it can be a source of resentment if people feel that they are being leaned on too much, or they're needing to lean and the other person isn't there as enough support as they should be.
Particularly with Christine's depression, this could leave her in states where she sometimes is energetic and attentive, and other times doesn't feel like doing much of anything. And when you have Charlie, who is in need of a lot of assistance from her, if she is depressed, she might not be able to do that.
It can be difficult at times, but for the most part, they manage. Until taking care of each other starts to tear them apart.
There was some conflict at times over finances.
He suspected Christine may have a drug abuse problem.
Charlie and Christine Bilis have worked hard to build their dream life together in Derbyline, Vermont. But just 2 years after settling into their new community, their health issues are starting to eclipse their happiness. Friends at the community TV station where they are active volunteers notice them bickering more and more.
You asked the right question.
Okay, Charlie. I'm here. Let's go.
Hey, I'm talking here. You mind?
Hey, it's 3 o'clock. You said 3 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock.
I need more time, okay?
Fine. You know what? I'm gonna have a smoke, and you can find me when you are ready.
I believe that at times as a caretaker, she would have lost her patience with it, so that would cause a lot of stress.
Sorry about that. Yeah, she gets a little edgy at times, you know. Anyway, I think that, you know...
Charlie was a very outgoing and engaging, and perhaps that was conflict at times. Maybe sometimes he was more focused on other people. I could see how that might have annoyed her.
There would be just little flare-ups. If Christine was fatigued or if Charlie was fatigued, there would be either a sarcastic comment from him or a sarcastic comment from her.
Things are no better at home.
No coffee.
Money's a little tight this week, Charlie. Just please don't complain.
It's always a little tight. Listen, don't bother. I'll get some at the station.
There was some conflict at times over finances. They didn't have a lot of money.
We had a petty cash box at the studio, and a lot of times things would get tight by the end of the month, and Charlie would, borrow money from the cash box, and it always got repaid.
Charlie also berates Christine for never cleaning the house.
Why are there glasses in the sink?
She said, well, he'd yell and scream and swear and call us the C word and tell us to clean this effing house and,
Just wash a glass. How hard is it?
You're so lazy.
Wash a glass for yourself.
It's not my job.
Christine blames Charlie for eating up her time.
Chrissy, I need a ride to the station.
Seriously, Charlie, now?
There is no bus, subway, or other public mode of transportation in the Northeast Kingdom. In fact, in most areas, there's not even a taxi service. And so he relied on her to get him around.
He was a little bit older than her, and he might have expected too much of her.
But Charlie notices Christine seems to have plenty of leisure time to chat up their neighbor.
Their landlord lived up the drive. She had a son who was in his 30s or 40s.
You want us to smoke? You sure?
Charlie thinks it's just friendly chit-chat at first, but as the conversations grow longer, he grows suspicious that it's something more.
Sure you want a coffee or something?
All this, combined with Charlie's declining health, is making Christine edgy.
I hope I'm not interrupting anything.
He could become kind of irritable.
I know what you're up to.
You are so ridiculous.
To help her cope, Christine often smokes marijuana after the kids go to bed.
She told me that Charlie didn't approve of her smoking weed, but he allowed it, and his only agreement with her was that she had to do it outside, and no way, shape, or form let her daughters see her doing it.
But these days, she's lighting up more often, and it's starting to bother Charlie.
Chrissy, I wish you wouldn't smoke so much.
It's not a big deal, Charlie. Just get off my back, okay?
He said that she would just smoke in the morning and then she didn't do any of the housework or dishes or cooking and neglected everything and just watched TV all day and just kept smoking pot.
And that's not the only thing that Christine is using to take the edge off.
He told me that Chrissy had taken his pain meds while he was asleep by removing them from his pocket.
His pain meds contain morphine.
He mentioned the fact that, you know, I have enough problem trying to keep my pain meds so that when I need them, they haven't all been gobbled up by her.
One night, Charlie notices the pills are nearly all gone, and he confronts Christine.
He suspected Christine may have a drug abuse problem.
He mentioned the fact that, you know, I don't want her to be around any of these drugs of any kind.
I ran out of pot.
This has to stop.
I know, it will.
Yeah, that's what you said the last time.
He calls police.
Charles Bilis had called the state police barracks and actually spoken with a trooper to tell the trooper that he suspected her of taking the morphine pills. Trooper provided Mr. Bilis with some numbers for support services in the state of Vermont to see if she could get maybe some sort of counseling.
I can't believe you called the cops.
Christine agrees to get help.
She did go to some counseling of some sort.
But after a few sessions, she stops going.
She would do the counseling and it was on and off, so she wouldn't stay for any consistent period of time.
A few months later, their relationship reaches a breaking point when Charlie finds Christine smoking her third joint in as many hours.
Don't you get it? These drugs are just making your depression worse.
Just get off my case already.
I could just kill you.
Oh, really? Let's just see how you would manage without me. I want a divorce.
Where are you going?
Christine left the house in his vehicle with his credit cards.
I had heard from Charlie that she would, like, snap on occasions. There might be an explosive incident, and then it could calm back down, you know?
Charlie reaches out to police for help a second time that year.
Yeah, hi. You gotta help me. My wife just took off, and she's high.
He was concerned for Christine's safety and asked that the state police try to locate her and check her welfare.
I remember not knowing where she was and being really concerned.
If I'm Charlie, I'm legally blind, I have other medical conditions, and I don't feel like I can handle Christine. I'm gonna call the police so that I can get help.
Having said that, we can't be 100% sure whether that's just right where Charlie's mind was. He was also quite angry with her for having stormed off and or perhaps worried about what she might be doing. And so perhaps some part of his motivation for the 911 calls was to punish her in a way. Get the cops to bring her back, in other words, to him.
Christine calls Charlie before police track her down.
Hello?
Hey, it's me.
Where are you?
I'm at a motel. Here's the deal, okay? I will come back, but you have to promise to stop yelling at me and giving me a hard time, okay?
She said she attempted to divorce him 1 or 2 times. She had actually left, but she had come back because he had agreed to change.
I changed my mind. Thanks anyway.
The very next day, Charlie and Christine avoid rehashing the incident. They're preoccupied by an opportunity. Their friends have a nicer and cheaper house available to rent. Money's tight, and they both agree they should take it.
You like?
So pretty. Love it.
That summer, they move even further into the country.
I had a lot of beautiful land. I had like a waterfall. It was like 100 acres. Such a beautiful house.
If the move is meant to save the marriage, it's too little, too late. Because another bombshell is about to drop.
Of course, my dad was really stressed out.
They reclined his seat and started CPR.
Charlie and Christine Bilis struggle to support one another as they battle with his heart problems and her drug use.
Yeah, just a moment, please. It's for you.
Hello.
But that seems insignificant when, 10 years into the marriage, Christine receives a shocking diagnosis at the age of 42.
What's up?
The results of my tests are in. The doctor wants to see me first thing.
Hey, girls, your mother has something to tell you.
I have to have surgery.
Your mother has cancer.
What? No.
But it's okay. It's not that serious.
It's ovarian cancer. And while Christine is calm, Charlie is not.
My dad was really stressed out. I mean, no one wants to hear that their spouse has cancer. That's pretty terrifying. She had to get a hysterectomy, which was kind of scary, and she's like just explaining it to me like, oh, they're just gonna take out some parts, they're just gonna take the cancer out, and it'll be fine.
Luckily, the procedure is a success. Christine is cancer-free 6 weeks later.
Surprise! Oh my goodness, you guys decorated. Oh my gosh.
Christine and Charlie set aside their differences and pull together through her recovery.
My dad was definitely probably one of her main caregivers while she was recovering. I mean, he would be making her dinner, walking her around, putting on movies for her.
And you put my bed right here in the living room. That's great.
But as Christine's body heals, her mind does not.
Hysterectomy definitely impacted her depression. After the surgery, women are thrown straight into menopause.
Being put into menopause caused a complete downward spiral of him from basically being just semi-depressed some of the time to being completely depressed.
My mom was put on medication for insomnia and the antidepressants as a way to help her cope. I believe that she might have also been given estrogen for a while in an attempt to help stabilize the lack of hormones.
Please do not touch me, Charlie. I'm not feeling good.
But despite all of the medication, her symptoms only seem to get worse.
After these medicines and after this surgery, she's a very sad person, very withdrawn too.
A month after surgery, she reaches rock bottom. She's thinking about suicide.
She wound up actually having suicidal ideation, and she wound up in the hospital.
She did seek some help for her medical and mental health issues.
Darling.
After 5 days, Christine is discharged.
After she came back from this stay at the hospital, I'm not sure if she seemed like better per se, but she did seem to deal with it better. I mean, she still wasn't this happy, bubbly person that she used to be, but she wasn't, this person who was crying all the time either.
Doctors refer her to a counselor, but once again, Christine doesn't stick to it.
My mom just started all these counseling sessions and stopped them, like, seemingly suddenly. because they just weren't working for her.
Instead of turning to her counselor, Christine reaches out to friends for support.
Hey, how you doing?
Like Stephen Merrill, a producer at NEKTV.
What are you working on?
I'm just working out the numbers for the next project.
She started showing up and acting, how could I explain this? She was acting kind of like Goofy.
If I can help
She had come over to by herself, 2, 3, 4 times, at least.
Anyway, I guess you're busy, so I'll let you do your work.
Maybe because I was single, maybe she was attracted to me, and it made me very uncomfortable.
Steve decides he can't keep this a secret.
Hey, Charlie. I have a word with you.
Sure, what's up, Steve?
Your wife, Christina, she came over and she started flirting with me.
I had to tell Charlie. I would think that if anything like that had happened to me, or that, my friends would call me up and say, hey, your wife's over here, what's going on? He was one of my best friends.
Charlie isn't one bit surprised.
She's done that before,
He told me about the prior incident with some neighbor. It was not unexpected at all. He told me that he was going to talk to her, and it must have worked because she stopped showing up.
Thanks for letting me know.
I'm sorry.
The fact that Christine appears to be flirting outside the marriage again suggests to me that in this case, her illness was sort of more of a hiatus rather than what we might have hoped, which was that the illness would somehow kind of reverse the course in which the marriage was headed and bring she and Charlie back together. It seems like that has not happened, or if it did, it was short-lived.
Charlie finding out from Steve that Christine had been flirting with him had to be crushing. He had just been A+ perfect husband, taking care of her when she wasn't well, being supportive, and he gets rewarded with this.
By August 2009, Charlie and Christine decide they need help with their marriage.
Charlie and Christine were doing couples counseling. Actually went really well. They were doing great. The marriage was looking better.
So much better that Charlie asked Christine to take him to the station to tape a show.
That's not a cockroach. Get that beat.
We sprayed yesterday.
Yeah. Okay, here we are. Once we started doing the show, we're having a great time. And after we got to doing the show, they decided to drive home. She seemed happy, he seemed happy.
See you, Steve.
On the way home, Charles fell asleep. He wasn't wearing his seatbelt because he never wears his seatbelt. And as they're driving back, witnesses helped Christine out of the vehicle. She was seatbelted in the vehicle. Several people observed Christine shaking profusely while she was on the ground. They were unable to remove Charles from the vehicle. Charles was extricated from the vehicle by the local fire department and EMS.
2 lives hang in the balance, victims of a tragic accident. Or were they?
Don't touch me!
If he attacked me, so I tried strangling the guy.
Charlie and Christine Bilis are rushed to the hospital after a tragic car accident. Miraculously, Christine's injuries turn out to be minor.
So after the crash, my mom just came home with us the same day.
But Charlie does not fare so well. By the time he's brought to the hospital, he's pronounced dead on arrival.
I felt horrible. I lost one of my best friends.
I was very saddened It was a tragic way for anybody to die as well, so it was very heartbreaking for us.
I'd like to say that I handled it well. I really didn't. I was crying, she was crying, and it was kind of a mess.
A week later, the community holds a memorial for Charlie.
I was amazed that there were so many people there because Charlie was not a local, so he had made a mark in the community. Christine seemed like someone who had just been widowed. She was quiet and seemed sad. The girls seemed very upset. I recall that they were crying.
Police conclude the crash was an accident.
Chrissy told the police that she had blacked out because of the medication she was on.
I don't remember anything. I just guess I blacked out. One second I was driving, and the next I was in the hospital.
And after reviewing medical records and speaking with doctors and witnesses and interviewing Christine herself, the cause of the crash was listed as an accident.
Signature here. Absolving this all responsibility matter.
The next few months are tough in the Bilis home.
You know, my sister and my mom and I basically managed like I think any family would, you know, a lot of comfort food, a lot of time together, watching movies, eating pizza, just kind of being there.
She had a lot of people helping her. She had people from the church providing her with firewood and, you know, helping her take care of things, bringing food, you know, clothes for the girls.
Despite the support, Christine cannot seem to forgive herself.
Christine didn't cope too well after the crash. She suffered more depression. She was feeling like she was the cause of her husband's death. She was missing him a lot.
If I had been driving and I killed my spouse of 15 years dies and I walk away scot-free, like, that would make me feel so horrible.
Christine's reaction to accidentally killing Charlie is a very normal one. She's suffering from survivor's guilt. That is a guilt that a person feels when they have survived an accident and the other person has not. And an incredible amount of sadness goes along with that. And so they find ways to cope by either overeating, self-medicating, or crying a lot.
And something that is less normal but possible that could happen is that she could even start to confabulate the possibility that, well, maybe she didn't mind it enough, or maybe at some deep subconscious level she wanted to crash the car, which would only compound the guilt feelings, whether those intentions were really there in the moment of the crash or not.
By the summer of 2010, less than a year after the crash, Christine has withdrawn completely from the couple's old friends.
Oh, hey. No, that's really nice of you, but I'm just not up for it.
After the funeral, I never saw or heard from her again.
She was not taking her medication. She wasn't doing counseling.
Okay, thanks anyway.
She wasn't able to sleep at all anymore, and I know before that she had insomnia, but I mean, you know, you wake up at any time of the night and she wouldn't be asleep at all.
Christine spends a lot of those sleepless nights online, fighting off her loneliness.
I met Christine on a dating site. We got a kick out of each other's sense of humor. She kind of got a dark sense of humor like I do. And we also shared common religious beliefs. And we're the same age, both had kids.
Kevin Leland becomes Christine's confidant, and she becomes his.
I told her how I went from riches to rags all of a sudden with the housing market crash and the economy and my divorce, and she brought that up, you know, that her husband died in a car accident, and that her daughters and herself, they're still trying to deal with it.
Over time, they became very close, and that Christine eventually came to trust him a great deal.
After just a few weeks of emailing, texting, and talking on the phone, they share their darkest secrets.
Yeah, I had mentioned how I had gotten kicked out of my apartment because I had a pretty hellacious fight with my roommate.
He accused me of invading his privacy, which I didn't do.
Okay, so what happened?
We end up struggling. He grabs me, okay? I end up grabbing him by his throat. I mean, I almost strangled him.
Oh my gosh.
Moments later, Christine makes a confession of her own.
Can I tell you something?
Sure. What is it?
I killed my husband.
What?
It wasn't an accident. I killed my husband.
We hadn't even met face to face when she outright confessed. It was extremely heartfelt.
Was this guilt talking, or could Christine be telling the truth?
I figured, wow, who better to call? Charlie's friend. He's a lawyer.
She had reached a point where she had just had enough.
Widow Christine Bilis tells her new friend Kevin Leland that she killed her husband Charlie on purpose. But he doesn't know if he should believe her.
Yeah, instead of hanging up the phone and calling the police or just running away from the thing, I decided to learn a little more about the situation.
Kevin decides he needs to tell authorities what happened, but first he needs proof.
It was about 8 weeks later that I finally brought a tape recorder and recorded a confession. I wanted to make sure I had some sort of evidence to back me up, you know, that being a tape recording.
Testing, 1, 2, testing. Testing, 1, 2, testing.
Kevin's plan works. He gets Christine to repeat her confession on tape without her knowledge.
It wasn't an accident. I killed my husband.
I was a nervous wreck getting this first tape recording, but I think I covered it up pretty well.
Armed with the incriminating recording, Kevin approaches someone Christine has brought up casually in conversation. Vince Aluzzi, Charlie's friend from NEK-TV.
Kevin Leland called me and said that he had information that Charlie Bilis's death was not accidental.
Took months of finding a way they couldn't prove it. Months and months.
And you think it won't come back to you?
Absolutely.
Well, I was shocked, and so my initial reaction was one of great skepticism. And then, of course, once he revealed that he had audio tapes, I immediately notified the director of the Vermont State Police.
Detective Annis, I have something I think you need to hear.
So I made an appointment to meet with Kevin.
Mr. Leland?
Yeah.
You have something for me?
Yeah.
I'll give it a listen.
I listened to what he had obtained for recordings from Christine on his own.
Christine's comments to Kevin definitely suggest she intended to murder Charlie.
Christine, have you ever thought that maybe you might just confess?
Are you crazy? Are you insane? No, that is not an option at all.
If you go to the police, if you tell them what happened, maybe it will go better for you.
This is going well for me now. I tell them I am. Forget it.
She's like, well, you know, that's what happened. You kill somebody, you go to jail.
The recording is compelling enough for police to reopen the case. And they need Kevin's help.
Mr. Leland.
Detective.
It's good, it's real good. But it's not enough for a conviction. I need more.
Despite the fact that Kevin had provided recordings to the police, they needed recordings that were legally admissible in a court case. So they asked Kevin to go back, talk to Christine again elicit confessions from her, but this time recorded with a search warrant in hand.
But this time, Christine does not confess to crashing the car on purpose.
It was all in that first tape recording. I never, even under a warrant with all the subsequent tape recordings, never got a confession as clear and as good as that one.
So after waiting 3 months for Kevin to record a full and admissible confession, Detective Annis decides to go straight to the source.
We had to do something to get things moving a little bit quicker.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Detective Annis. I would like to ask you some questions.
When I spoke with Christine, she couldn't remember anything about the crash or anything after the crash. So I told her that I'd obtained search warrants and I'd been listening to her phone calls. And I also told her that I heard her tell people that she intentionally crashed a vehicle to kill her husband and possibly kill herself.
People are wondering whether it was in fact an accident or not. Someone has come forward and said that possibly it...
That's ridiculous. Who did you talk to? Look, there are people in the community who talk, but they don't know anything.
The police pressure continues.
It's April 25th, 2011 at 10:30 hours. I'm here with Christine Bilis, correct?
Yes.
Go ahead and state your name.
Christine Bilis.
I'm sure you still miss him, and I'm sure you loved him. I need to hear what happened. You need to be honest with me, and we can do what we can to...
I feel guilty. I was the one that was driving the car, but nothing happened to me. My husband died, but I just, walk away? What the hell?
Were you intending for anything to happen to you?
No, I wasn't intending for anything to happen to anyone.
Then, 6 weeks after the first visit from the police and 2 years after Charlie's death, Christine decides she has something to tell them. Christine did smash the car into the tree on purpose, but says she had a good reason.
Christine told Detective Annis that Charlie was abusive, verbally abusive to her.
I was allowed to hang around with certain people, other people that I wanted to hang out with. He'd have a fit and tell me every freaking thing wrong with that person and why I shouldn't hang out with that person and why they're a bad influence on me.
She also tells him she was on a long list of prescribed medications.
She had a lot going on in her life, medically, mentally, and I think she had reached a point where she had just had enough.
According to Christine, on the day of the crash, she and Charlie had been arguing for hours.
Oh, come on, you lazy bitch. It's time to leave.
No, I'm not going.
Oh, yes, you are. Come
Get
on.
off of me! Don't touch me!
She says this was typical, part of a long-standing pattern of psychological abuse.
They had an appointment at Northeast Kingdom Television. Christine was tired, not feeling well, and didn't want to leave. She thought Charles should do the same thing since he wasn't feeling well.
He insists they finish taping the show. Afterward, the argument continues.
Let's get you out of here, okay, Charlie?
Yeah, I'm coming.
You always say that, and then you don't come. Let's go.
Okay.
Christine and Charles continued to have a very heated argument about bringing Charles to the hospital to get checked.
I'm not interested, okay? Let's just go home.
Fine.
Charlie wears Christine down.
I'm sick of it.
Shut up and just drive, will you?
I drive enough. You know that.
She said she was very angry at the time still from the argument.
What else am I gonna do? You don't think I have anything else to do with my life?
And as they're driving back, she saw the tree.
She said that when she saw the tree coming, she knew it wasn't going to move, and at that point, she didn't care if she died in the crash either. But she couldn't live that way anymore with Charlie.
To police, the crash finally makes sense.
There was no other reason at the time they could think of where this vehicle would have gone off the road and collided with a tree.
But what doesn't make sense are Christine's claims of abuse.
Christine did say during one of the interviews that she was in fear of Charles, that he had made comments to her that he could kill her and bury her. There was nothing like that I substantiated anywhere else.
My dad was a really loud person. I don't think I'd really think of him as abusive.
In June 2011, police charged Christine Bilis with homicide in the first degree.
Her attorney eventually worked out a plea agreement whereby Christine would plead guilty to manslaughter. Christine was sentenced to serve 15 years.
I think she was a woman who was at her wit's end. Charlie wasn't well. He was getting sicker. She had just recovered from a sickness herself, and she needed a way out. And the only way that she thought that she could get out would be to kill him.
So that just suggests that she's got sociopathic traits, but that isn't the sole explanation for what happened. The pure sociopath doesn't feel guilty about much of anything they do. And I think that at the end of the day, the judge and the prosecutors probably sort of agreed because they let her make a pretty sweet deal. And that suggests to me that they too thought that mental illness, a mix of medications, other factors than just stone-cold sociopathy had played into that homicide.
Following Christine's conviction, daughters Corina and Caitlin go to live with Christine's mom and dad. Both maintain their mother was not responsible for Charlie's death.
I feel like my mom just confessed because she was feeling horrible. The medication had a big impact, definitely on her personality and how she was feeling.
But belief in their mother's innocence doesn't ease the pain at the loss of a father figure or the loss of a friend.
When I picture Charlie, I just see this guy that's smiling, laughing, and trying to help.
Anyone can be a father, but it takes someone special to be a dad.
And I wish he was alive to be able to take care of his girls. He loved those kids more than life itself.